Hello, everyone. Welcome. We have the awesome Susan Lynn joining us tonight, and it's always a lot of fun. And I know a lot of you all, and myself included, really look forward to our shows together. So thank you so much for being here, Susan.
Thank you. I look forward to this. Half the
Oh,
time I'm like, God, what does Kevin think about this?
anything new since our last show?
Oh Lord. No, it's all good. It's all
Mhm.
good. Well, we've got a lot of new politics.
Yeah.
A lot of things happening, right? And I think that's just going to continue to get more fever pitch.
Oh, yeah.
It seems impossible, but I think it's going to get even more surprising.
Yeah, absolutely. The spring is going to be huge, even the summer. It feels like it just kind of grows and expands all of the craziness that's going to happen before the
And then it's going to
election.
pop.
Then it's going to pop. That implosion that we both have been saying for a
And
while
I
will
don't know,
happen.
right? Right. Oh man, you guys hang in there down in Southern California. I
Oh
know,
yeah,
right? Be careful. Everybody in California.
I'm
We're
sending a lot of
thinking,
prayers and love for everybody affected.
yeah, yeah. Rough.
All right. All right, you guys. So me and Susan are going to be doing politics, current events, our usual. So if you have a question, I think I have subscriber mode on for 5 or 10 minutes, so you do have to subscribe. But you can send your questions in the chat, all caps. We'll get to as many questions as possible, although sometimes it's just a starting point and me and Susan kind of bounce off of each other. Um, is there anything that you want to read on or anything that was coming through for you, or do you want to get into some of the questions?
We can just go right into the
Right
questions.
in. All right.
We can just get right into it. And I
Oh,
got to tell you, this is good stuff. Kevin and I get together and we go deep into it, and I feel like together we're really accurate.
yeah.
So, thanks for joining us. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Well, you will be because you've got to do it to chat. But some people are lurkers.
Mm-hmm.
I lurk. But if you're lurking, please subscribe. All right, let's get
Yeah.
going. Let's do
And I
it.
did just hit 11,000 subscribers. So every 1,000 subscribers, I do a giveaway for a free 30-minute reading and a Reiki session. I'll announce how to enter on my next solo live. I'm not sure if I'm going to go live tomorrow or not, but if not, it'll be next Tuesday. But we'll be doing a contest here. So you do have to be subscribed to enter that. So any help, any subscriptions would be greatly appreciated. And I just want to thank everybody for helping me continue to grow the channel. It's amazing how quickly it grows.
Congratulations. Well deserved. Well deserved.
All right.
Yeah. You are putting in the work over here, man.
A lot of people want to know about the royal family.
I knew it. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew we were going to go here too.
That's all right.
Um,
Yeah.
Kat says, was it you whose guides had mentioned ailment for King Charles that William and Kate will be taking the throne sooner than expected?
I think we probably both saw that. I don't know if you saw it, Kevin, but I did.
Mm,
I was not even 100% sure energy wanted him to take the throne.
yeah,
I thought the
same.
energy wanted his son to take the throne, but he did. And I knew if he did it, he wouldn't be on there long. Is that what you thought as well? Hey, Chili Dog. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chili Dog. Um, yeah, and I even put in my 2024 predictions. I felt if it wasn't this year, maybe it was next year, but I saw him stepping down and William taking over. I do feel I was pulled down to the lower abdomen. I know that they said it wasn't his prostate um, for King Charles. Maybe it's bladder or colon related, but I did feel like it's a bit of a tough journey for him. It's just kind of what I was picking up. I didn't feel the best, but I felt like he was going to push through for a while. But yeah, the overall feeling felt not the best. I don't know how did you feel about that?
It doesn't feel great. It feels like a struggle.
Yeah,
It really taxes his energy, taxes his vitality. I mean, he cannot rule. he cannot rule with this. This is
Yeah.
going to really take all of his attention and his energy to uh get through it.
Hmm. I see him
Do
hanging
you
in there for a little while, but
Yeah, he's gonna hang on, but he's gonna need to really, I don't this isn't a breeze. I don't see this being a
mhm,
breeze.
yeah,
I feel like this is a concerted effort that he's gonna have to really focus on, and I just don't think he can be the king. I mean, he could if he wanted to, right? I mean, he's the king. He can do anything. But I
mhm,
think it's probably the best option for him to step down.
yeah. And then they had Kate's recovering too, which um, I felt like she was going to pull through it, but did feel like it was a little bit of a challenge for a little while.
Yeah, it's a challenge for her too. So I think they're both
Mhm.
going to be really going through it.
Yeah, I see Kate rallying though. Like I said, for King Charles, it kind of feels like a slow but steady decline. That's kind of how I'm feeling with him. I think he'll get to a point too with the treatments, it all being a bit too much,
Is
and
that right? So
William will take
three
over.
years?
It might be a couple years, but I don't think he'll be in there for that long.
Yeah, I don't either. But I think his lifespan 3 to 5, 5 max. How old is he? You may know.
I'm not sure. I'm sure one of our wonderful
Yeah,
people in the
I
chat
know.
can
That
let us
was
know.
the Wikipedia of the comment section. Um,
Mm.
yeah, he's
He's
75.
very
Thank you, Elaine. Yeah, I feel like 78. I mean, I don't know. And
yeah,
nobody's wishing him any ill whatsoever at
yeah.
all.
It's just what we're feeling with the overall energy, but
Right.
um, obviously, I hope that we're wrong and he can recover and rally quickly. But that's not how it's feeling for me anyway. All right, let's see.
Yeah, interesting.
Well, we kind of touched up on that question right there too about how the health
Yeah.
will be this year. Yeah.
Yeah. A struggle. A struggle.
All right. Angel Whisper. Hi, Susan and Kevin. I have a feeling something is going on with Cornell West in a way where we can expect to hear about him dropping out of something suspicious. What do your guides say? I feel an ending. Is he's not running on the Democrat. Is he no labels or um
Isn't he
Green
no
Party or he's some kind of third party if I
He's some
remember
kind of
correctly.
weird third party. Yeah.
All right. Is he dropping out? I'm just gonna throw a curve.
Almost pushed out. Like maybe his funding drives up and that pushes him out.
Hmm.
Um I'm feeling like he gets a push. We may not know that. That might not be public.
All right. Cornell West.
It was a great day for democracy today, Earth Mama. It was a great day.
I see him trying to push for a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's why I think he's going to get pushed out. He can't
Yeah,
get the message.
I don't see him winning. And part of the problem too is the funding. Not
Yeah,
being there.
there it is. That's the funding. That's what
The
I saw.
campaign suspended.
He's not getting the message. I don't think he's going to. I think they're going to have to literally get the hook and pull him off
Mhm.
of the stage.
Yeah, I have the fool here, so it can be somebody that's kind of foolish or maybe not thinking it through. I mean, he's leaping, about to jump off the cliff there, but I get a lot of fire energy with him. Like there's a bit of a stubbornness.
Yeah.
Um, like the Aries kind of energy, if you look
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
ring, kind of just trying to push and fight and really trying to hang on. But I don't see it being successful.
I don't see it
In the
either.
end.
Yeah.
So I think the funding is the main thing.
Yep.
He just doesn't have
And
that
and
back.
then just the a guest overstaying their welcome, right? Like
Mhm.
he's overstaying his welcome there.
Yeah. Deputy says West is running as an
Independent. Okay. No problem.
well, there'll probably be a couple of them that try it. So a third party run.
I'm sure.
All right. Yeah, but I don't see a whole lot with Cornell West.
Nope.
Marie says, I see divine light surrounding President Biden at times? Could it be the one of the beings you talk about sent to help us? Same with Zelensky. Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's got like angelic guidance that's
Yeah.
really helping him. He's trying to put the country back together, even though it's so divided. And I do feel like there's progress there, more so into the second term. But yeah, absolutely being sent here to to save our democracy.
Yeah. Same thing with Zelensky. It's
Yeah.
almost like they're divinely chosen, divinely guided.
Absolutely. All right. Thank
And
you,
they need
Murray.
it. I mean, those two really
Yeah,
need that help. So I'm glad they have it.
absolutely. Clarence wants to know, when is Marianne Williamson gonna drop out?
I hate
I
Clarence.
don't see her in that for very much longer. Even what's that other, the douche guy? I can't think of his name. The other one that's running against Biden, the
Kennedy?
congressman.
Oh,
No, it's not Kennedy. It's I think he's a congressman from Minnesota. Somebody in the chat will know. But I felt when he announced that he was going to run, I felt like it was the end of his career. He was going to regret that. I mean, I think he had in New Hampshire, he had a rally or something, and nobody
Dean
came
Phillips.
for it. Dean Phillips. Nobody
Thank
even
you.
showed up for it.
Commenters.
I think in South Carolina he got like 1,000 votes. Marianne Williamson got 2,000, and Biden got well over 100,000. So it really wasn't even a contest. I see Marianne Williamson dropping out before Phillips, but they both wound up dropping out shortly.
Yeah,
That's what I want to anyway.
I agree with that. She's not going to hang in there forever. You know, they run out of money. I mean, the bottom line is they just run out of money. And because I think if somebody would pay them, they would continue. They would just continue.
Yeah, and also Bo is helping his dad from
Yeah.
All right.
Dean Phillips feels sick too, Clarence. Dean Phillips feels sick. He could be. He could have a little something going on there.
I feel like Dean Phillips and a lot of these third-party candidates are taking some dark money to try to interfere with the election. That's what allegedly for entertainment purposes only.
Yep. I agree. Let's just say I wonder where their funding is coming from.
Right? Well, it was the same thing with Jill Stein too. Jill Stein in 2016 was getting some money from Russia.
Yeah, exactly.
Christine says Tucker with an F wants to interview Putin. What are your thoughts? And I heard that he was in Russia.
Yeah, my guides were like hammering me with his name all weekend long. I wanted to talk about Musk because Musk is that judge took away his $55 billion little money. And so I wanted to talk about Musk to them, and they kept saying Tucker Carlson. And I was like, I don't care about Tucker Carlson. So now I get it. He's in Russia. Apparently, according to my spirit guides, this is a much bigger deal than we think it is.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, the Susan part of this thing, I'm more interested in Musk, because I think that Musk is going to eventually lose control of Tesla. And I think that's a big deal. But for Tucker, I got that there's some woman that's going to expose him. There's some exposure that happens where he can't recover from it. It looks really bad, even to the Republicans, even to his base.
Yeah. When you were kind of talking, I feel like he's a bit of that hidden channel with Putin and dark money and some of the people that follow him. He has the Three of Pentacles here, which is collaborations and group work. But in the Rider Waite, there's a black pentacle, so it can be a symbol of dark money. And him behind the scenes trying to sneak around with the Seven of Swords, the thief in the night.
Mm-mm.
It's interesting that you said a woman's involved with it because I have 3 women here
Yeah.
coming in.
Some woman comes out and nails him. She has the
Mhm.
goods.
Yeah. And
She
it
has the
does feel like Tucker also is in there, besides being that hidden channel, but also going into, um, you know, help with Russia to interfere with the election is kind of what I'm picking up. That
right.
fight.
Why
But
now? Why now would he?
right.
It's almost like Putin calls in, and he calls his missives, he calls his people, come over here, I need to meet with you, right?
Yeah.
But I tell you, when you were talking too, tell me about this. I get that Biden and or the DOJ is watching this or
Mhm.
watching Tucker. This guy could really he could be exposed. They
Yeah.
just keep telling me exposed.
I was gonna say the exact same thing. I feel like, he's not as sneaky as he thinks, and he's being watched.
He's
Yeah.
not. He's really not. So look for those two men to go down.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you feel about Elon Musk? How do you feel about him?
Well, it's interesting because I got a hit out of nowhere with him right before I did my 2024 predictions, and I felt like Twitter was going to crash, but I do feel like he was given money to to be installed and in charge of Twitter. But I agree with you too. I do feel like I don't know if it's Tesla this year, but I feel like there's definitely some challenges, especially with the money. I don't see jail for him, but
I don't either. I just
he's being
see
investigated.
he's out. He's out of power.
Mhm.
Look, this judge taking 55 billion dollars.
Yeah.
He wanted to have this, he wanted to cash out some money, I guess.
Mhm.
And one or two shareholders said, we don't think so, took it to court, and the judge said no. Um, that's a big deal.
Mhm.
Not letting a corporate titan who's supposedly the richest man in the world, not doing his bidding. This is he did wreck Twitter. I know. And I think he meant to. I think he meant
Yeah,
to wreck
he did.
Twitter. It was a beautiful communication area where you could talk to journalists and judges and or ex-judges and ex-generals, and you could really, really talk to the real people. Yeah. And now it's full of a bunch of hate.
How do you feel about this with Tucker being exposed with that dark money channel, that hidden channel? My guys have told me before the election, um, some of our foreign adversaries and the dark money that they give to certain politicians would be exposed. And I wonder if maybe that's where it stems from, because I feel like it will happen before the election. We're
I
already
think so.
starting to see it a little bit
Yeah.
with the Supreme Court, but I see it. I see it being huge.
Yeah, I see it being huge. I mean, it's a
Mhm.
little bit embarrassing, I think, for us, because it's
Yeah,
kind of our dirty laundry. This guy's uh, selling us out. Like, I mean, like, I don't know why we can't accept Trump did the same thing. But anyway, yeah, I think it's going to be huge. It's a game changer. I think it's a game changer.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we need to answer this one because that presidential immunity case came in today, and they said that he does not have presidential immunity, which I think you had said as well, but I think we both said that.
We both
Um,
said that yeah, yeah.
but my feeling is I don't think the Supreme Court's even going to take the case because I heard even though it took a while to get that ruling, it would be expedited, and if it went to the Supreme Court, that would just further delay things out. I I wasn't feeling like the case was going to be delayed very long because I think
Right,
it's supposed to happen in March, if I remember correctly, or April, and it maybe
right.
it gets pushed up to April.
This is the
Um,
Chutkin case, right?
in case, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think April, I think by the second, third week of April,
Hmm.
it'll be
Yeah.
back on
It
the
feels like
docket.
it's mid to end of April, maybe.
Yeah. I
But
was
I
getting like
think
26. So yeah.
but I've said, and I still feel that way, that that case will definitely happen before the election and that Trump will be
Yes.
charged.
Yes. Yes. I agree. It's just not the one we want, right? I mean, it is the one we want, but I really want the Doc's case.
Yeah.
And the but anyway, we'll take it. I'll take it.
I think that case will make a difference. Although I've always said like the huge case would be the documents, but I think Cannon's going to delay it too much before she's out and replaced. I almost feel like she's out like in the next few months, maybe May, June, July at the latest. But I feel like end of spring, summer is when she's out of there, and there's somebody else in, but it's too pushed out to kind of get everything together. So, and that would be a long case too, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I definitely see her going out, and I think she'll go out by mid to late summer.
Okay. I think this is the same. Yeah, we're both in agreement, Sabrina. I don't think that the Supreme Court will take the immunity case. Yeah, and then it will get right back on track. All right. Are you okay? Okay. Say La Vie says, will student loan debt be absolved for students and parents for past 10 years when Biden wins in 2024, just like Obama bailed out banks and car info to stimulate the economy? My guys had always said that the student loan package that Supreme Court said that he couldn't do was writing it off. I did feel like it would be challenged a few times before it went through. But I do see that there's student loan relief coming in, and even and he's already forgiven a bunch of debt too. I don't think it's going to be a total debt forgiveness, like all of the debt being written off. I don't see that, but I do see more student loan relief coming through. All right.
I agree.
All right.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
But not everybody's going to be happy.
If you need to take a break for a second, Susan, I can. You're all right.
Something just got stuck in my throat, and I was like, ah. Okay, I think I'm okay.
You all right? Okay. I don't know if you've been predicting anything on this, Susan, but Mimi22 says, how do we prepare for the Earth changes following the April eclipse? I felt like there was a lot of changes, and obviously with the global warming, the shifting that's taking place right now, I do feel like a lot of the devastation, storms, earthquakes, that kind of stuff is going to be heightened for this year. I had already kind of said that in my 2024 predictions, but I don't know if I feel like it's in regards to the eclipse. I don't know, maybe you feel something differently. I just feel like it's going to be crazy, and it's going to continue to kind of be hard, and it's something that we kind of need to all be kind of prepared for and use our intuition. Making sure that we have to be adaptive. That's the message I'm getting, especially like if you're on a coast area with these storms. We just have to have plans in place to protect ourselves and maybe move if there's a big storm coming in, or making sure that we have supplies. And just follow that gut. If something doesn't feel right, and it's like, maybe I need to take a vacation or get away for a little bit, follow that gut.
Follow your gut.
Were you picking up anything specific with the eclipse with Earth changes?
I just want to point out, Jocelyn. Thank you, Jocelyn Saint Amour. That's very kind of you. You know what? I feel like I agree with everything you said. I would just add that I think that the eclipse could add like energy. Like if something is already happening, if there's already a thunderstorm or something like that, the eclipse energy kind of, twist it up a little bit. But I don't see I don't really see a lot of new Earth changes based on the eclipse right now. So, but I do think that the energy is volatile. I mean, it could, like cause something to spin up into more of a problematic natural storm.
Yeah. It's actually interesting now that I'm thinking about it. when I was focusing in on 2024, my guides had showed me a solar eclipse. You know, you have the inside that's black and then that ring of fire. And then, there was like flames coming off the fire part. And I was thinking, okay, solar activity, powerful eclipse. But then like the black part in the center where the moon's at turned into like the Pacific Ocean.
Whoa.
So maybe there is a bit of a connection, but I don't think I said I feel like the Ring of Fire is going to be very active this year with
Yeah.
quake. I feel
Right.
some volcanoes, maybe a wave.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
just
the
it's
weather's crazy, guys. I mean,
yeah.
we've been telling you the weather is crazy. Whatever happens, it could be way worse than anybody predicts. I mean, look at California right now.
Mhm.
So I think really pay attention to what Kevin said. If you have the intuition, maybe I need to go get some more bottled water, but I don't know why. Maybe I
Mhm.
need to go get XYZ, but I don't know why. Just go with that.
Yeah. And it's really interesting too because you've kind of heard like the last few years people starting their own gardens, raised
Yeah.
gardens, trying to they're feeling guided by their guides to do that.
Yeah.
I think it comes to the overall being prepared.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Let's talk about the bipartisan immigration bill. Will it pass the Senate, and will that put pressures on the House to at least put it up for vote? Will it pass the Senate? I just heard no.
I got no too. But McConnell knows it's almost like he wants an assurance from the House before,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? They're not just going to go over there and be passing votes. So they'll know when they're both on the same page. The question is when? When is it going to happen? That's the $1 million question.
Well, when I had read on it before, my guides told me, I don't feel like this deal is what's going to end up being pushed through. I feel like, but I do feel like in the next few months, maybe before the next election, definitely, I do feel like there's some kind of like maybe this is the framework for a different bill that gets passed. Maybe it gets pushed through when Mike Johnson's out of the House. Um, but I definitely felt like there was definitely resources going to the border. I actually felt like Biden was going to get a bit hard on the border before the
Yeah, me
election.
too. Me too. I saw the same thing. I said, man, Biden is going to probably blow the Democrats' minds by
Mm,
how kind of hard he's going to get. Do you see him? Somehow I see Biden doing an end around Congress,
mm,
going to Mexico's president and saying, you and I are going to figure out something about this international border.
yeah,
And then Mexico's president steps up, like really steps up. And Biden looks like, well, he saved the day because he did. It's like, you
yeah.
kids can't get it done. I'm the statesman. I'm the president. I'm going to go over here to this country. We're going to work it out. Does that feel like a possibility to you?
Absolutely. I almost feel like, and he might actually do some kind of executive order beforehand
Yeah,
before we get some kind of bill. But I
go
agree with
around
you.
it.
It feels like there's definitely more security, I think, from both sides, Mexico and the U.S. Um,
Yep.
yeah, I agree with you on that. And I don't
And then he
feel,
can run on it. Then he can run on fixing the border.
mhm. Well, and they'll have that talking point now too that
That's true.
Republicans just want to talk about it and not
That's
actually
true.
get it done. And I see
I
that
mean, it's
backfiring
been
this
proven.
year.
It's
Mhm.
been, I just was telling Kevin before we came live that Cinema was just on NPR
Mm,
saying how she had the best bill. It was the tightest, most extreme bill that has ever been written. And if these people didn't vote for it, they don't want a secure border. That's what she
yeah.
kept saying on NPR. My colleagues don't want a secure border. I'm like, oh my God, it's like Christmas or something.
Right? Well, it's not very often that cinema speaks up against the Republicans because we know
It's not. She was
who's
so
funding
mad.
her.
She repeated it and repeated it the only thing she wouldn't do is she wouldn't come out and say Trump ordered them to do it. She said every senator needs to go home and face their constituents.
Yeah.
and they need to vote how their constituents want them to vote. That's all she would say.
Yeah.
Which is true.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
Here
she's
I
met.
am agreeing with Christian Cinema. I mean, what the heck is going on?
It probably won't be too many more times, right?
I can't imagine. But you know what? Here we are in Alice in Wonderland Politicalville.
Right? I think she's just really upset she put a lot of work into that bill,
She
and
put a
people
lot
were
of
on
work
board
into it.
until Trump and the MAGAs in the House tanked it.
And she could have run on that bill. I mean, that
Yeah.
was red meat to the
Yes.
Republicans. I mean, she would have looked like, she had really done the thing. And she's now the co-chair of that committee. So she was so mad.
I got a resounding yes. That was her goal with it. Because I think she knows that her campaign's in trouble in Arizona for the election.
Yeah, would have saved her
That was
butt.
her last chance. I got goosebumps with that, Susan. So
Yeah.
all right. Somebody had asked a question. Let me see. Kathy had said, and I think that this will be like the perfect place to go into this, but will Democrats develop effective messaging to encourage voter
Yes.
turnout? Absolutely. I said Taylor Swift would be huge, and she's going to be. That's why the Republicans are threatening her, going crazy on Taylor Swift right now. But for me, it really feels like end of spring. Summer feels huge, like so many celebrities, politicians, really coming out and just really messaging how important it is that this is the most important election. If Trump wins, it's the end of our democracy. It feels so huge. It feels like there's so much momentum and fire put into it. And we're starting to see the Democrats now, some of these younger progressive people in place, really handling it to the Republicans. They're matching their fire and calling them out, and I love it.
Even Biden,
Mhm.
he is on social media. Of course, Biden now has a new office for social media response, and it's staffed by everybody in the office is under 25.
Mm.
So he's killing it. I'm telling you. So, and look, the Republicans have given us solid gold with cinema saying, all this stuff. I mean, it's solid gold. They can, all they need, all the Democrats need is money.
Yeah.
Because they're going to need to flood the airwaves, because there's a lot of people that aren't watching this stuff, that don't pay attention to politics. So the Democrats have to get that message all the way in those homes and in those apartments.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting too, because the Republican Party is broke right now because all of the money is being sent to Trump to pay for his legal bills. So when it actually comes towards campaign mode, they don't have the resources to make. So all of the money that Biden and Democrats raise, it's really going to get that messaging out there too.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. It's a perfect storm.
Mm.
And also in the summer, I've always seen Biden just gaining popularity. Like in the summer, people are just like, you know what? This guy is just killing it. We can't say otherwise. So it's a perfect storm.
Well, and with
nobody's trying to get cocky. I'm not trying to get cocky.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Well, I do feel like there's a big push towards Democrats and Biden, and even the polling hasn't been showing that in the last couple of elections, and Democrats have done very well. So I see that, but it does feel like a lot of momentum. But then also too, it's like as Democrats go up, we're seeing the Republican Party implode, fracture. Trump goes down and takes everybody down with him.
Yep.
So it feels like come election time for the majority of people, the Republican parties have a smell that nobody wants to go near, nobody wants to touch. Everybody's like, I'm staying far away from this crazy.
And I want to say happy birthday to Clarence, whose birthday is coming up Thursday, I think.
Oh, happy birthday, Clarence.
And I want to say that before we went on too, Kevin was saying that, so Kevin and I both saw some Congress people leaving Congress in the spring and summer. And we both see Jeffries becoming speaker before the election. But you think there could be as many as like 10 really? 10 Congress people leaving?
I think I misunderstood what you were saying.
Oh, okay.
I feel like there will be a few. Were you picking up around like five, 6?
Oh yeah, I'll take 3. I'll take
Yeah.
3
It
or
feels like
4,
there's
but
a
5 or
few.
6 would do it to get Jeffries in.
Mhm. But what I was feeling was that there might be up to 10 Republicans that are like, I'm going to finally grow a set and grow a backbone and really stand
Oh,
up
right.
against the
That's right.
MAGA Republicans. That's
No,
what I meant with that.
that's exactly what you said. That's right.
Mhm.
So you feel bipartisanship, because that's what I also saw
Yeah.
too last year, is bipartisanship this year. Like you were just saying, the Republicans are like, we don't want anything to do with this. Like maybe cinema. Cinema is so mad. And I think some of these Republicans, like you're saying, they're like going, wow, this bus is really going over that cliff. Do
Yeah.
I really want to go over that cliff? No, I don't. I'm going to pull back and vote with the Democrats.
When I think a lot of them are getting frustrated right now too. I mean, they can't even pick a speaker. A lot of them want to do something with the border. They don't want to be impeaching everybody. It's going to get to a point. Yeah, it's going to get to a point where they're just like, I think Johnson will be out. They will probably go into the speaker fight again, not be able to elect anybody. And I think some of these Republicans will finally have enough, and they're just going to be like, listen, let's make some kind of deal with Democrats. We'll get Jeffries in there. What can you offer? And like I said, it doesn't feel like it's a huge group, but there's a small group, but it will give the votes to be able to actually get some things done before the election.
It's enough. It's
Yeah.
enough. And then my worry was so even if you have a few Republicans that come over to the side of sanity and we get Jeffries in and we get maybe a border bill in and we get a budget and Ukraine gets, things kind of start chug along.
Yeah.
The only thing I worry about is things are so bad that it's going to be hard for Jeffries, even if we have 5 Republicans on our side, it's still going to be a hard lift. It's almost like you want to see the Republicans. I want to see the Republicans go all the way, own this mess, own it until the election when we rightfully and dutifully throw their butts out, and then we take over and then we clean house. But if we have to take over before we've really got, a Congress, then we're going to look like we're not doing anything. It seems like we're cleaning up their mess again.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree 100%. Just imagine how much hate Trump and the MAGAs are going to spew at these few Republicans.
And think about Mitt Romney saying I had to have $5,000 a day in security. They can't afford $5,000 a day. That's what Mitt Romney himself said. He said a lot of these other Congress or senators, they can't afford $5,000 a day.
Yeah. Yeah, it
but
seems like
maybe Biden. Do you see Biden and the ATF or something, taking these threats more seriously? And if you get threatened, they run the threat down. And if they follow it back to a congressperson, they nail that person.
Oh, interesting.
This is what we've got to do. We
Yeah.
got to get this back under order.
Absolutely. Well, and you see it all the time now too. What is it called? I think some of these Congress people and some of the MAGA supporters are, was it calling like swatting?
Yeah,
Is that what
swatting.
it's called? Yeah. It feels like it gets to a point where like I feel like something has to get done,
Something has to get done. They swatted one of the judges. Do you guys in the chat know what swatting? Some random person calls 911 and says there's shots being fired at this house, or there's a captive or a assault or some terrible thing, and they give the address of a police officer or a judge or anybody they don't like. It's called swatting because the SWAT team comes out.
Yeah.
It's
and
insane.
it feels like it's more like that. And I did feel like for maybe a few people, I feel like there's security in place, but I feel like there might be an incident or two that's a close call. for
And does that
anything to do
cause?
with that is what pushes it over.
Yeah.
Because I felt that way, and I don't get the best feeling about Georgia. I've been saying that for a
I
while
know.
too.
Me too.
It feels like there's some kind of
Atlanta
plot.
specifically, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, me too. I've been saying it. I've been saying it all last year, and I didn't understand why. They called
Mm.
Atlanta ground zero.
Oh,
I don't
did they?
know. Yeah, they called it ground zero. And I'm like, what does that mean? I
Mm,
thought it was, Fonnie Willis's case, because I really thought at first that she has a much bigger, she was going to go after some of these Congress people because she's got the RICO case. And the RICO case is going to connect all these people to Trump or
right.
to, dark money or Russia or whatever. And you know what? That's why they went after Mayorga. I just got that. The Russia connection. They're trying to intimidate Mayorkas.
Mm. Well, and not even just that though too. I think Jim Jordan's interfering in the Atlanta case again now too.
It's the intimidation that we were talking
Mhm.
about with the swatting, and these Republicans not feeling safe to vote their conscience or to
Yeah.
vote for their. So it's like the mob is running some of our judicial system, and allegedly there's a connection to Eileen Cannon and the MOB. You
Mm.
guys should look it up, but apparently her dad has a big connection to that. So, and they call her the mob princess or something allegedly. So,
Oh,
anyway, we're gonna have to bust this up. We're back in the 1950s again, or the 1960s and 70s, when the mob literally was in control of our justice system.
yeah. Well, and I remember maybe it was about a month ago. Garland did make a press conference and brought up all of this threats to, you know, politicians, people in the public. Um, and he made a very veiled threat in that too, because he brought up the January 6th stuff. And he said, anybody that took part and was in the Capitol and those who were planning the attack, the coup, you will be, we will come after you, is pretty much what he said. And I think it was just that little bit of that threat to let a lot of these Congress people know, we know that you were involved and we haven't forgotten about you. So
We haven't let it go.
yeah, they're not going to.
Well, I hope they don't. I'm telling you, this is holding us hostage. This stuff is
Mhm.
holding us hostage. And who was it? Was it Ingeron who told the jury, "Don't ever tell anybody you were on this jury"? Which one
Yeah,
was it that said, "Don't
I think
ever"?
it
I
was
mean,
Enron.
come on. This is the
Mhm.
United States of America. What is going on? It's like we're living in Colombia or something. I don't know. It's like,
Yeah, it's
it's crazy.
crazy. And somebody had asked about Taylor Swift and her safety, and I felt like she would be safe. I definitely felt a lot of money and resources going in for her security.
Yeah, I think so too. She's had to be secure for a long time. She knows how to do it.
Yeah. Um, was it the E. Jean case? Yeah, it might have been the E. Jean case. I don't remember what the judge was. What his name was. Kaplan. It was Kaplan, I believe.
Ah,
Um, I think the George Santos seat is coming up. I don't know if it's next week or it's coming up in very soon. What do you feel? I feel like it's shifting to blue. That's what my guides had always told me, and I still feel that way. Are you picking up if that Democrat is going to win in is it Long
I
Island?
have yes, I do feel like that, but I also feel like there's some shenanigans.
Mm,
There's some bait and switch or some kind of exposed, thing that we learn about, or um, there's something more that's happening. It's just not. There's something else. I can't figure out
mm,
what it is, but I do think that a Dim will win.
yeah,
But this
I
is a special election, right? And then there's
also like
and
that.
then the final election is in November.
Yeah, so it would be a special election until the seat is up again in November.
in
But
November.
I do agree with you. I feel like I think the Republican is a woman. Um,
Yeah.
I don't think she has any really credentials or anything like that. But I agree that there's something a little sketchy with the candidates they put in there, or some kind of plan. But I agree with you. I do feel like it. I feel like it's blue. It's not going to be like a landslide. I feel like it's going to be close. Maybe within like
Closer than it
five
should be.
points, closer than it should
It's
be. Yeah.
closer than it should be. That's what I'm saying. It's not a shoe-in, and I think there's something's going on, man. I don't know what is going on in that district.
Well, and I think it went to Biden by like 8 points, but it really is a true like toss up seat. But I think George Santos really turned off a lot of people. The issue though is that there's a
Yeah,
lot of he turned off a lot of the constituents. They're not very happy with Republicans there. But I do think also too I was hearing that a lot of the voters are kind of upset with all of these refugees, immigrants being put into these cities like New York and all of that too. So that's where like this border security stuff really needs to be put in place.
yeah, yeah. So allegedly,
Yeah.
Judge Eileen Cannon, her husband worked for John Rosati of the Colombo family.
Oh.
Her husband worked for a mobster. So you just can't make this stuff up. I mean, I really feel like 10 years from now, I'm going to be reading a book about all this, and I'm not going to believe that I survived, that I was here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, did all that really happen? And I'm never going to be able to explain it to anybody. Like if I had to explain it to a kid, I would just have to say you had to live through it. It was like we were held hostage. We knew it was wrong. We voted
Mhm.
accordingly, but it was just a bizarre time. It's really, really like Alice in Wonderland or something,
Yeah. Crazy.
really bizarre.
And maybe this is what you were picking up with that Santos district too. Uh, Janney says there's talk on Midas
Oh,
the Democrat candidate will turn GOP. But I think
see,
his establishment, I think he's been in that district for a while.
yeah, but it doesn't matter. They get
Mhm. They get
you
money?
know compromat, or they get
Yeah.
compromat. Hey man, if they got video of you doing something that would put you in jail, it's not about looking bad. They don't care about that. But if you're doing something that's against the law,
Mm.
they own you.
Yeah.
And they just flip you. It's like, okay, well, now you're ours. I agree. That's what I've been getting. There's some kind of weird bait and switch thing.
Yeah.
And can you imagine those constituents if it happens to them again?
Right. On the other side of it too.
I mean, yes. And now hopefully, this happens now, but he
Mhm.
could, or this person could run again in November and get in and then do the Trojan horse thing that the guides are always talking about.
Yeah.
It's
I have a
nuts.
question for you, Susan. What's your feeling about we're in the primary now. Do you feel like Haley's going to stay in until the end, or do you feel like she's going to be out soon? Because I'm kind of feeling she's going to lose South Carolina. It's not even going to be close. Maybe the turnout's not high, but maybe 30%, 35% in South Carolina. And then she'll try to hang in there till Super Tuesday, and then I don't know. I think the big donors are shying away from her because they know that Trump's going to get it. She's getting grassroots money, so small donations, but it's not enough to be competitive in Super Tuesday
No,
states. And I feel like Super
no.
Tuesday, she's out.
She's out. I agree with you. But and I don't like her in the least, but I'm
Yeah.
happy to have her in there because she's our proxy.
Yeah.
She's taking pot shots just like Chris Christie was taking pot shots at Trump. She's out there saying the things nobody will say, which is, I don't think he's mentally with it. She's really out there saying the things. So now Biden can stroll in when she, breaks down on the side of the road and take over. But yeah, I agree with you. I feel like probably before Super Tuesday. Super Tuesday
It
is
might
March
even be
5th.
after, before. Yeah, I think next is South Carolina for the Republicans, and then I think it's Super Tuesday. There might be a state in between there. I feel like she's going to try to stay in there till Super Tuesday. But I agree with you. I think that she might not do very well in South Carolina and drop out then. But I feel like she hangs on for like the next round.
Yeah. She
It's in like a
yeah.
month.
Yeah.
It's early March.
Who are we talking about who was really not wanting to step down? Cornel West. She's got Cornel West energy. Like she's like, I don't want to do it. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? She just doesn't want to do it, but she really has to do it. I agree. I agree with you.
Well,
And then
go ahead.
and
I think
then
we're on the
Trump
same
is
way.
the nominee.
Yeah. Well,
And then what happens, right?
well, and then we feel like there's, well, at least I think we both are on the same page. There's something that comes up later on after he gets the nominee, and I see her like right
water,
back
but
in
I'll
there
drink for
trying
that.
to dig her nails back in there. You know, I agree with you though. She is starting to go a little bit harder and punch Trump, but it's kind of half-assed still because when asked if you know, if she's going to pardon Trump if she gets elected in there. You know, I don't see her that popular even in a general election because the MAGAs and most of the Republicans will not vote for her. She's getting independent voters. And, you know, abortion is going to be huge. And she, you know, she believes, she doesn't believe in abortion rights.
No.
So,
And she said some horrendous things about race to Charlemagne the God. The radio show, I was just like, oh, this is a train wreck right here in front of me.
yeah.
She's tone deaf. She just totally tone deaf. She's
Well,
lived
the
in
Civil
some kind of
War,
crazy box.
the Civil War comments and what caused the Civil War.
The Civil War comment. Yes. Over and over again,
Mhm.
over and over again. Somehow I feel like it helps us that Trump is the nominee.
Absolutely.
You know?
You know, it's interesting kind of going into, well, then what happens? Does Nikki get it after Trump's out? I don't feel like she's going to like get the nomination at the convention, but it kind of goes into what I've been feeling. And I had a really weird gut feeling when Tim Scott announced that he was going to run. And I had said, I feel like Trump's going to pick a woman, but I'm keeping my eye on Tim Scott too. And I just saw an article that I think somebody questioned Trump about VP picks, and he name checked Kristi Noem, who I've been saying, and Tim Scott. So maybe he doesn't pick them, but those are the two that I think he's really focused on, and that's what I've been saying for a while now. We'll see.
I got Tim Scott. That's the guy that just got married or just proposed, right?
Yeah, they're like grooming him for like this public, you know, profile. Like
because he's a lot like Mike Pence, right? I mean, come on. You know what I mean?
He's a yes person. Yes,
very
master.
similar. Kristi Noem is. It just seems like she's too powerful for Trump. Like she won't take a back seat, but maybe do you see him actually choosing a VP, or do you see all this kind of imploding before them?
I feel like he chooses a VP because then it goes into, well, if Trump gets the nomination and he's not able to be around for election, would it go to his VP or would the Republican convention decide? And that's where it feels like this summer there's like a bunch of chaos. Nobody knows what to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Cece, I'm wrong. Okay, I'm wrong. Uncle, I give up. I'm wrong. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. The part that I can't figure out is, and we've both seen this, and that's kind of like the thing that's a little infuriating, is it typically happens, but we can't see how it's going to happen. Like, I don't know how we get there, but we both see the Republican Party, like in Desiree, There's no clear leader. We've talked about this before. Who will step in and take the mantle? The ballots are going to be printed with Trump on them, I'm sure. So at that point, it's probably going to be some kind of write-in situation. Because I don't see Trump. I've never seen Trump, and this is probably for the last 2 years, I've never seen Trump getting to November, either on this side of the earth or in, some sort of fit mental status. So what do you see with that?
Yeah, well, I would just agree with you that it's hard to follow the energy because there's so much chaos. I feel like there's a bit of free will at stake too. Is Trump going to get the health checked out? Is it going to be a health thing that takes him out, or maybe he holds on a little bit longer and then it's getting in trouble for like the January 6th stuff. So that's where it feels like there's a lot of like what if still to see it really clearly. What was the question that again though, Susan? I'm sorry.
That's all right. When does he? So do you don't see him getting to November? Do you see him getting to November?
It feels like summer. It feels like summer.
He's
July,
kind of out of
August,
commission.
September.
However, whatever reason that is, he's out of commission. He's out of the running. September. Okay, so he's out of commission. Let's just call it that. So by September, so you can see that's so by then he will have a VP pick. I mean, when
he'll be on the ballot by
pick
then too.
VPs?
Yeah, I think they would do it before the convention. And if he's the nominee on the convention and then something happens to him afterwards, he's already on the ballot in these states, and that's where that write-in situation that you're getting in. I feel like it could be sometime a little bit sooner. Like maybe it's up to the convention, or maybe it's like September. But September just hit me really, really strong.
September's like his last chance, right? And so if he picks a VP, I mean, I don't even know if we've been here historically. I mean, probably. But if he picks a VP, is the VP just going to step into that and just say, well, I'm his VP. So had he been president, I would be taking over. So then the VP actually is a pretty interesting consideration.
And like I said, I had a really weird gut feeling when Tim Scott announced. Like my stomach turned. I was like, "There's something off about this." But then it's interesting too.
Florida.
He's one of the I think South Carolina. He's a senator.
Oh, South Carolina. Okay, what's the other guy's name? The other Tim that we're thinking is going to run for VP.
Kim.
Who's the other one that's going to run for VP?
Oh, Kristi Noem?
Yeah, Kristi Noem, and who's the other guy?
Tim Scott.
Okay, so Tim Scott, that's what you're saying. Okay, but isn't there another Scott that anyway, so you're thinking Tim Scott.
But I've always felt like a woman energy too. Maybe he picks Tim Scott and then Tim Scott picks a woman. I don't know.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
We're getting too deep into it. But I can tell you one thing, when Trump is out and the VP is like, well, I guess it's me, you know damn well Nikki Haley and DeSantis are going to be clawing to try to get back into there.
Yeah, yes. And I don't see them. I don't see them doing it. And I think Kristi Noem has more respect nationwide for whatever reason in the Republican Party than Scott does. So
I almost feel like with the abortion issue and a lot of women really not being for Donald Trump and the Republicans, I feel like they're like, well, we'll put a woman in here and maybe we'll get some more women vote.
I know.
Or maybe we put Tim Scott in here and we can try to go after some of the African-American vote.
Exactly.
That's what it feels like to me. Not that I know people are saying that he won't pick a woman because he doesn't respect women, but Kristi Noem would be a bit of a trophy beside him. She's attractive. Maybe not on the inside, but
and she does bring she's a governor. I mean, she brings a lot of cachet that he doesn't have.
Yeah.
I don't even want to think about it because but it doesn't matter, because if Trump is out of the picture and they're scrambling to do a write-in, or however we're going to have to handle this as a country, that's going to make the conspiracy theories just go crazy. But I still don't see, I still see Biden winning
Yeah, me
regardless
too.
of whatever happens.
Yeah, me too. We'll see. My two that have came to me is Tim Scott and Kristi Noem. I guess we'll see what happens. I could be wrong.
No, I've been getting Tim Scott. Look, there's no way that man would be getting married if he wasn't being groomed for being
But
BP. This man
that's
was a
what it is.
58-year-old virgin, self-stated virgin, produced a woman out of thin air, and then
Right.
and
Well,
then when he stopped running for president, she disappeared, he disappeared, and now all of a sudden he's proposing to her on the beach. I mean, this is, come on.
well, and he's going to all of Trump's rallies and
Yeah,
his
he's a
campaign
stuck up.
stuff.
And
He's
behind
right next
Trump,
to her. Yep. And Trump is kind of roasting him a little bit.
yeah,
Doing that like dominant kind of force.
that's right.
Trying to put him in his place. Kind of teasing him a little bit. That's what
Yeah.
Trump does.
That's what he does. And so can you see him doing that to Kristi Noem? I guess he could, but
I don't see that,
I've never
though,
seen
with
them together really. I don't know.
Mm-mm.
Oh yeah, Tim Scott told 45 he loved him.
Yeah.
I used to joke that Walt Nauta was going to be his VP.
Mm.
And of course, now we know that Walt Nauta, which I said like 2 weeks ago, Walt Nauta and I said that because you want somebody who has your back. Mike Pence didn't have Trump's back. He didn't when Trump needed him, Mike Pence let him down because he followed the law. So
Right, exactly.
Trump wants somebody who's not going to follow the law. And then we find out Walt Nauta was getting ready to get in all kind of trouble from the Navy. And that's when Trump grabbed him and made him his personal valet.
Oh, interesting.
He was doing some things with women that he shouldn't have been doing. And all these women were coming out against him. And the Navy was getting ready to I don't know what they were going to do to him. They were going to do something. And Trump grabbed him and said, I'll take him. Because guess what? Birds of a feather.
They flock together, yeah. Oh, too funny. We've been on for about an hour. Are you good to go for a little bit longer?
I'm good to go for a little bit longer. Yep. My coughing fit is over. We did cover, some people have asking, we covered all the topics that you guys, we covered a lot of those topics. Hopefully people let you know in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could be asexual. It's fine. I'm happy for you to be whatever you are.
Right.
I am happy for that. I'm just saying that you're when you try to twist and make yourself into something you're not, that's when you get into trouble. And also this guy has probably voted against every gay or every kind of thing that could possibly be out there. It's just super frustrating.
Well, look at Miss Lindsay too. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Same story. Yeah.
Same story.
Mary Louise says, do you see any huge revelations coming up in March? March has always felt huge to me.
We've been saying March for at least 6 months.
And it feels like, to me, it feels, yeah. I mean, April feels big too. But to me, it almost feels like it's more like Ukraine and Russia. And maybe it's Putin in Russia. I do feel like there's a bit of energy towards that in March. Like maybe that's when he goes, or maybe we have another like Wagner incident again, because I do feel like that kind of energy kind of going back into Russia, protests.
Yes. Do you feel that any connection with the Tucker coming to, being exposed, the expose,
I think it might be a little bit longer though
for that to happen?
I think so. Maybe. Is that what you're picking up?
Yeah, but maybe it's June. What about McConnell?
Ooh, interesting. I did put my 2024 predictions. And I don't wish it, but the health is gonna. I see him out before his term's up, and I think even before the election. I feel because it's like the Republicans lose the leadership, the House is a mess. They don't have anybody to lead the House, and then I feel like there's a bit of trouble for Republicans in the Senate too. I almost wonder if who's the second or third in the Republican Party? Is it like John Thune or one of the senators? I feel like they might be going after when McConnell to replace McConnell.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
I think he was with him when McConnell had his
I think he was.
and I felt that way then, but I do almost feel like there might be another fall or stumble while talking to the press.
Debilitate some kind of debilitating thing. I feel
Mhm.
like March is the beginning of the end for some of these Congress people that were perhaps more involved in Jan 6 than they should have been. If you
That
think
could be it
about
too.
those people that were just tourists walking through the Capitol taking pictures, maybe there's no film of them hitting anybody or being violent, but they still got prison time. I feel like these Congress people are going to get indicted. And I feel
And
like they've
maybe in
already gotten
April.
indictment letters. I
Mhm.
feel like they've already gotten some in December. They're going to get more this month of February. And I think March is when game on.
All right.
These things become public, that there's real indictments. So I think March is the beginning of that. And I think April is when it maybe we get a whisper of it, or maybe it begins in March, but I feel like
Yeah.
April is when the hammer drops. That's what they
I
just
feel the
said.
same way. I was gonna say when you were talking about March, I was getting a strong yes, and then it maybe then April feels like really huge, and maybe that's going into the eclipse energy. I think that Putin in Russia it feels like is connected to the eclipse too. Um, yeah, it could be Putin passing away in March or April because the eclipse energy it can happen a little bit before and a little bit after that
Yeah.
time frame
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah. It
yeah, it
does.
could be huge.
And I think I can't remember if you concur, but I always see Putin and Trump, their energy is linked. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Ides of March. It's true, Corey. So I feel like if Putin goes, you're looking at months, and then
Mhm.
Trump goes. Or if Trump goes, you're looking at months, and then Putin goes. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but I've always seen their energy connected.
Interesting.
Not more than 6 months, 8 months at the most. If one
It feels
goes,
like
the other
it's
one's
close
going
to
within
time.
8 months.
Yeah, I agree. Audrey said that I saw Putin maybe passing in January, but we'd hear about it in March. Yeah, that could be it too. I don't know though, because I feel like Putin's still with us.
I feel like he's still with us, but I don't a lot of the
Yeah.
Putins you guys are seeing or we're seeing on the media are not the real Putin.
Yeah.
He has a lot of fake now they're making fun of it. I mean, they're they're clearly not even good. Who was the Putin that they found? Oh man, I have this story somewhere. But anyway, they found this Putin that was from Poland or some other country, and
Oh,
he was
interesting.
trying to escape because he thought he was going to be arrested, and uh it was funny. It's
Mm.
pretty well reported in Europe that there are fake Putins. So
And
um
I had heard too, even with some of the like the facial recognition um, technology, that they've even looked at Putin and they can tell that features are off.
yep.
So
Yeah. Those days are over when you can have a fake, everything is scanned now.
mhm. Yeah, and
Yeah,
Teresa
that's
says
true,
Putin was born
Teresa. That's
on the
true.
cliff.
Born on an
Mhm.
eclipse. Sometimes they go out on an eclipse.
Exactly.
Be prepared. Everybody, be prepared. Confetti, popcorn, whatever you need to have, Bibles to pray for him. I don't care. Whatever it is, just be prepared.
We kind of touched about the momentum in the summer for Democrats, but polls are showing 45 ahead of Biden now. Any change in the outcome of the election? Literally a week last week, they had a poll that showed
Oh,
Biden up over Trump. So
opposite.
the polls are skewed. I don't feel like they're accurate, and they haven't really been accurate since Obama was president. They said that Republicans were going to take the House with 50, 60 seats in 2022. They got a couple seat majority. They said it wasn't going to go well in the off-year elections in 2023. We saw Bashir winning again, Democrats being very competitive in even red states. So I wouldn't, I know that it's a bit scary. We don't want to kind of go back into what we dealt with 4 years of Trump, but just really do your best to stay grounded and keep the faith. Because I just don't find the polls to be very accurate.
Yeah, and if you have $5, send it to Biden.
Yeah.
He's going to need the money because he's got to get this. He's got to get those people that are just don't have any idea which way is up politically. He's got to get the message out.
Yeah. Well, we didn't talk about the Supreme Court and the 14th Amendment. I think they're talking about that Thursday. I feel like there's going to be some kind of runaround where they say that he can be on the ballot. That's just what I pick up. It feels like they do something sneaky with that, but then they don't take up the presidential immunity case is a bit outrageous. Right. Not to say that this isn't clearly defined too, but they'll be like, well, he hasn't been charged of insurrection.
Yeah.
He hasn't, he hasn't been charged of January 6th stuff yet. So we're just going to let him stay on there.
That's exactly what I got too. And I know it drives people crazy because you don't have to be charged. You don't have to, but
we're just the messengers here.
We're just reading the energy. We're just reading the energy. And and we both read that we don't think that the Supreme Court is going to give him immunity. For one thing, that brings him over their power. And the Supreme Court wants to keep their power. They don't want to become useless. Mm-hmm. They don't want a dictator in there any more than anybody else does. But I think it was close. I think it can be close because if you know you're going to lose the vote anyway, then you might as well be a protest vote to prove to the MAGA people that you're voting the way they want to.
Yeah. All right. Somebody just posted a good question. Let me find it. Oh, geez.
I wish I could read. I wish I could really read correctly on the Supreme Court. I have read that Thomas would already be out of there by now. I've read that Amy Coney Barrett would be out of there by now. I cannot read on DeJoy. I did read this, and I'm standing by this because I said DeJoy is going to screw up something before the election.
Okay.
He's going to do one more thing, and in Houston, we're not getting our mail. It's a big deal. It's all over the Houston. We're just not getting our mail. People aren't getting important things. And I think he's in there. And somebody said, yeah, they'll catch him. Yeah, they're going to catch him, but it doesn't matter. The fix is in. He's going to try to slow the mail down. So, but anyway.
I have a hard time reading on too. The thing is we tap into the energy. Sometimes we get strong hits of when something's going to happen, but timing's always a bit fluid. We have free will to kind of change things. We can kind of slow things down a little bit. That's where it gets hard with predicting timing. Yeah. But I agree with you. I feel Thomas out. I feel like he will be out before the election for sure. I think when the January 6th stuff comes up, Jenny getting in trouble, but also his health. I don't feel good about his health. I'm always supposed to that solar plexus, stomach, intestines. There's like a black cloud kind of aura in that space, and it doesn't feel very good to me.
Doesn't feel good to me, and it doesn't feel like he's doing anything about it. Let's put it that way. He's not being proactive about it. So, Lord, so that's the summer we have coming. It's just all this roller coaster. Okay, so the question is about Ronna McDaniel.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say real quick about Clarence. His energy is very much like Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
Where they're so stubborn, they will die before they step down.
Intractable. Look, Mitt Romney, he's like, I'm out. Even Kevin McCarthy, I'm out. Like they know when the gig is up. They're like, I'm out. No, Mitch McConnell wants to die right there in the Senate. And Clarence Thomas, I don't know what he thinks. He thinks he's he actually thinks he's going to live forever or something. I don't know what is going on up there.
Are you talking about Clarence or Chuck
I
Grassley?
mean, oh no, Clarence Thomas, but Chuck Grassley's another one, right?
He's got some health issues this year too.
He's another one.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's another one. So there's your people that could either 3 or 4 could, step down or whatever,
Mhm.
however they get out, and then 4 or 5 come over by partisanship, and there's your 10 that you
Yeah.
were talking about. That is the game changer that brings Jeffries into the speaker and gets this train that's going over the cliff under control.
Yeah. I don't know who is going to take over the RNC chair. I agree, though. I do feel Ronna McDaniels is going to be outed soon, and she's got some trouble in Michigan too. But it does feel like it's somebody that's kind of put in there by Trump on the MAGA train. That's what I'm picking up.
Yeah.
It feels like a
Yes.
male.
Yes.
I don't know. Do you get anybody in particular?
Vivek wouldn't do it, would he? Vivek Ramaswamy wouldn't do it, would he?
I think he would do it. I don't know if I don't know though. Maybe he'll be asked to do it, or maybe be one of the people to take over. I don't know. I don't see him in there, but I agree with you when you said that. I felt like maybe that's something he's gunning for.
He's got so much ego. I will never forget. I think it's his farewell speech, and he's standing with his arms out, and he puts his arms right in front of Trump's face. I'm like, oh, that's not going to play well, and Trump is like basically trying to get him off the stage. Oh, Martine, good to see you. Thank you.
Martine.
Yeah.
Vivek really wanted to be his VP.
Power.
And if Trump wasn't so egotistical himself,
yes,
he would be okay with it, because he would definitely be like that yes person for him. But he takes too much attention away from Trump.
That's exactly right. He takes too much attention, and he's a smart guy. And he's sufficiently crazy. Some of the things he was saying on his stump, it was just like, wow, that's a whole new level. So I agree. I don't know who is going to be the next RNC chair. It's going to be literally a rubber stamp by Trump, because at this point, obviously, Trump is running this gig.
Yeah. Let's end on this one, Susan, if you're okay with doing one more.
Danny Shea is here.
Hey, Danny. Governor Greg Abbott is blocking access to border agents, and he insists he will continue defying Supreme Court ruling against this. What were you picking up on that? Because I feel that razor wire is coming down. I do feel like Biden may have to send some troops down there. It doesn't feel like it turns into like a civil war or anything like that, or succession, but that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to build up this kind of civil war energy. You have DeSantis and other Republican governors sending in their National Guard. I'm not picking up a battle, but I do feel like it's going to be a bit ugly down there.
I just feel sorry for Biden having to put up with these people,
You pick up anything with the eclipse in Texas?
I didn't think about it.
I
did think about it
in regards to the border.
Yes, I did, because the darn X is right over Texas, y'all.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to flee the state, and Linda G is coming to the state. I'm like, are you crazy? Anyway,
if you want, Susan, it comes up right up through Cleveland, Ohio, where I'm at too. So I get like full totality of the eclipse.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
all right,
it's going right through Ohio here too. So
wow, that's amazing. I feel like hiding from this eclipse. I don't want to go see it. I'm going to be under my car. I'm literally going to be under. There's no rocks here, y'all. There's no rocks. Anyway, yeah, so I agree with you. I got a mix up, but not a big war, not a big, perhaps a showdown of some kind, but not a, like a whimper. It kind of goes out with a whimper. But also remember earlier we were talking about Biden kind of going around Abbott, going around not only Abbott but the Congress, going around this whole border thing. And either you said like executive order or executive order with working with Mexico and coming up with some really interesting and kind of sharp idea. Like, wow, that's clever. That really is going to work, because if Mexico helps us on their side, then I think really that's going to be a big game changer. And I think there's a little bit of horse trading going with Biden. He's a horse trader. He's a guy that's been in the Senate since God was born. So, he knows how to, compromise. So he probably go over there and say, let's work out some trade deals. And in the meantime, we talked about work out some trade deals. And in the meantime, help me out over here. So I feel like it's almost like Biden emasculates the Republican Party and Abbott in a way. Like, step aside, children, go over there and fight yourselves, or I don't know what you're doing. And of course, you heard about the big convoy that came all the way down to Eagle Pass. By the time they got here, they were fighting each other. they were having fights among themselves.
I felt like, I think I read on it last week or the week before. People were concerned about it, and to me, it felt like a bit of a protest. It didn't feel like there was any action there. Is that kind of the energy with it? They just went up over there and complained.
Yeah, I saw this terrible. It was sad. This woman said, "I drove down here. It's like an event that you would drive and go see.
Part of history.
I really did see people try to cross the river. I mean, but there's people on, YouTube that have driven that whole road way past that park, and there's other gates that are wide open. There's video of it. He's got video going out of his truck, driving down the road. So this is a whole public, I think, show.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
I mean, it could be something. I just don't think it's going to be the big blow up. But I agree that now when
there
you
might
go
be something with it, but it doesn't feel like it's civil war, but maybe something that kind of amplifies the energy down there before it calms down.
It flares up, and then it kind of like a balloon. You let the air out. But the eclipse could do something, because the two eclipses form an X right over Texas.
Oh, interesting.
It's pretty alarming when you see the visual.
There's one in April, and this other one in the solar eclipse is April 9th, I think, or April 8th, something like that. And then the lunar eclipse, is that in March or is that in May?
In March. Yeah, it's in March. It's like a month before. They're always, I guess, I don't know. I heard they're a month before. So I agree with you. It seems like that time between the lunar and the solar in Texas, that could be where this and it goes over Eagle Pass. I'm telling you, I wouldn't be there for $1,000. I just wouldn't. Texas is too volatile anyway.
But you know what, Susan? It leads, all of this craziness leads to Texas and what I'm feeling being purple in 2024 for the election time. And I almost feel like Ted Cruz may be out of there.
Oh, now you're talking. You can.
It might not go blue enough for Biden to win the whole state, but it feels like it's closer, and that Senate race is really competitive.
Right. It shouldn't even be competitive, but
Right.
I get it. And I do love Pam Gregory. If you guys want to follow a great astrologer, so she says something might happen in Texas. I wouldn't come to Texas personally. That's just me. The energy feels like a magnifying glass when you light up, grass, when the refraction. And the last time I read on this, the guides said a conflagration, which a conflagration is a fire. Oh, there's my dog in the background. I don't know what's going on with her. Yeah, but again, even though, don't you see that, Kevin, that it might blow up, but it's going to kind of
be contained.
It's going to just collapse pretty quickly. But I do think it might be something. But
to
I
me,
think
it's like a escalation.
Yeah.
But it doesn't actually get to like an actionable thing, but like a big escalation and then kind of fizzling out is kind of how I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
But Pam Gregory is awesome, and I'll have to watch her eclipse videos. I haven't watched her in a while.
She's very good. She's very, very good.
And thank you so much, Christine.
Oh, thank you.
You're very sweet. Thank you.
All right.
Well, we got a lot of questions in. I think we got most of the current topics and even some future stuff out there, which is always fun. But I please go over to Susan's channel, subscribe if you haven't already. I'm sure a lot of you have, but go help Susan. I have Susan's information in the description box if you want to get a reading with her. And if you could do me a favor, please subscribe, hit that thumbs up. We'll be announcing a free reading and a free Reiki giveaway in the next week or two. But you have to be subscribed to enter that. So please help me out and do that. And if you'd like a reading, a Reiki session, or a combo of both, send me an email at kevinlovingvibrations@gmail.com. Info's in the description box. Susan, it's always so much fun, and we'll do this again soon, I hope. Maybe your channel next, right?
Absolutely. I'm up next. Thanks everybody so much. Really appreciate it. It was awesome, Kevin.
Yeah, always fun, Susan. Good night, everyone.
Bye, you guys.